Hello friends, and those new to the channel, which is most of you, because as of making this video, I only have about 6 subscribers right now. So thanks for tuning in. What I have for you today is a review of this Mystery Ranch Scepter, and this is just going to be a quick review focusing on some features that aren't completely obvious and how it carries. And I'm also going to answer a question I was wondering, one of the reasons I made this video. How does the Mystery Ranch Scepter work for backpacking? And the too long didn't want you answer for that is maybe. So if you want more details about how this carries as a traditional backpacking pack, you're going to have to tune in and watch a little longer. Now this Mystery Ranch Scepter, Mystery Ranch built this and advertises it as an ice climbing, alpine climbing pack. And it has a lot of features that are ideal for that. It's got all these removable straps and cords and hip belt that can reduce the weight. It's shaped in a way that it stays out of your torso and your head, stays out of the way when you're climbing, so you have freedom of movement. It functions as a good lightweight gear hauler for climbing gear. But what drew me to it is I saw that it was released, and I was thinking to myself, oh, Mystery Ranch has sort of got a lightweight modular pack. Man, maybe I can use this as my lightweight backpack instead of those flimsier ultralight packs out there. And so that's why I got this, was to see how it would work for backpacking. Full disclosure, I really haven't used this for climbing. So if you're someone looking for more information about how this climbs, how this works as a climbing pack, there's a couple other reviews out there. I recommend you read those. This review is intended to just go over how it carries and how it works for backpacking. So let's just dive into some of these features about how it carries. Now, first of all, it is shaped a little differently than a backpacking pack. It's a little bit shorter. It's got a little bit more depth to it, and the back panel is a little bit more narrow than what you'd expect from a backpacking pack. And so the weight isn't going to sit as close to your back, and it isn't going to sit as high up. It's going to sit a little bit lower and maybe a little bit further out than a traditional backpacking pack. And let's just demonstrate real quick. So I've got this Osprey Volt here to compare it with. As you can see, the back panel is a little narrower to compare. You turn to the side. This is more curved. This is got less depth. This is more depth to it. And the most obvious is that it's a lot shorter. Without the top lid, this is probably 55 liters. This is 50 liters. This is a few inches shorter. And the purpose of that is to keep it out of the way of your head when you're climbing, and I'll demonstrate that. So just to give you an idea of how the Scepter is shaped differently than a traditional backpacking pack. The other thing I wanted to highlight on this Scepter before I throw it on is this back panel here. It's, instead of being a plastic frame sheet, it's actually a high density foam frame sheet. Now the top part is a little plastic part, and that's the plastic part you can remove and separate the Velcro to adjust the size of the torso. That's something that's basically standard on most Mystery Ranch backpacking or packs, to be able to have different torso sizes. But when you go all the way down, it's high density foam all the way down. That is the purpose of that, probably, is to reduce weight and give this a little bit more flexibility when it's on your torso. It's going to be a little less stiff than something with a hard plastic sheet. It's certainly less stiff compared to this. So what I'm going to do next is throw this on and just show you how it looks on my back. Alright, so I've got the Mystery Ranch Scepter all cinched up and on my back. And as you can see, it's got some depth to it. And as I move my head around, my head is not contacting the top of the pack. So that gives me a lot of freedom of movement when you're looking up and climbing. There's also no pockets, so it gives your arms full freedom of movement. And you're having freedom of movement in your torso and your head. That's pretty important when you're climbing. So it stays out of your way, but it's still able to carry loads. they rated it 40 to 50 pounds. I loaded it up with 30 on a day hike. It was okay. I had some adjusting. It pulled back a little bit because of how the weight sits further back and lower. But it was fine. So this is designed to carry for someone who is climbing or who's going on short to moderate hikes to their destination. It's going to look a little different on your back than a backpacking pack. And I'm going to throw on this Osprey Volt real quick to show you how that carries in comparison. Okay, so I've got the Osprey Volt on, and as you can see, it's, I've got restricted movement with my head. It's hugging closer to my back and the weight's higher up, but I've definitely got lot less freedom of movement. Obviously I can't move my head as much. If I had some bottles or some other objects in these side pockets, my arms might be restricted in movement. And because the hip belt here is so much more robust than the hip belt, it's a little bit, higher and wraps more than this hip belt. It also restricts movement there in my hips. And if you've ever done climbing, you're gonna need a movement in your hip area. So it's just, it keeps the weight closer to my back. It keeps it higher. It distributes the weight to your hips a little better, but it restricts your freedom of movement in comparison with the Scepter. And that's what this is intended to do. The Scepter is intended to give you freedom of movement while still be capable of carrying a decently heavy load. But it just carries differently than this backpacking pack, and probably not as comfortable for your longer days. Okay, so that should give you a pretty good idea of how the Mystery Ranch Scepter carries in comparison to a traditional backpacking pack. And as you saw, it carries the load, a little bit further out, a little bit lower, and it's intended to give you freedom of movement when climbing, but still be able to haul decent sized loads for short to medium treks to your climbing destination. So that brings me to the big question of this little video is, how does this work as a backpacking pack? Can it be used as a backpacking pack? As I said at the beginning, maybe, because the load, it carries that load differently than a traditional backpacking pack. This is going to carry the load closer to your back. It's going to sit up higher. It probably transfers the weight to your hips a little better. And that's not to say this carries the load terribly. It just doesn't carry the way you'd expect from a dedicated Mystery Ranch backpacking pack or a traditional backpacking pack from any of your higher end brands. So if you want to use it for backpacking, just be aware of the differences. You want to pack this so the heavy weight is closer to your back, it's higher up, so you can transfer that weight to your hips better, and it isn't, pulling back on you or sagging down on you. But it's just, its intent is not for, doing your long distance hikes, 20-25 miles a day. It's intended to carry loads for probably 5 to 10 miles a day and get to your climbing destination. All right, thanks for watching. I just wanted to make a little video about this pack and some features that aren't completely obvious and how it works for backpacking, because there really wasn't a lot of information out there that I could find, so I wanted to add my own little contribution to the internet. If you like this, do the old subscribe, like, all that stuff. I don't know. I don't care, whatever. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. I'll see you later.